Dogs will be taking on the Alabama Crimson Tide here at the intramural fields in Athens, Georgia. The Dogs come into the game with a 4-6 record on the season after a big win last weekend against Tennessee on the road. And are looking to cap off their home schedule with a win here on Sunday. The Crimson Tide come into today's game with a 3-7 record. Your starting lineups for University of Georgia Dogs. Caleb Palo and Andrew McLaughlin. At midfield, Sam Edler, Ryan Allman, and Sam Wheeler.
Violet, where you at?
And at goal, Steven Sutton.
Jack. Good job.
Yes!
Let's go, Frosty! Nice, this is zoomed out.
I'm on 12!
Let's go, Luke!
Let's go!
And we are a go here, starting with Luke Wright at face-off for the Dogs. And a face-off fighting for it. Picked up by Evan Mallon. His shot goes wide. It is chased off by the Crimson Tide and one heading the other way now. Long pass across the field. Now back on the ground, fighting for it. Picked up by Palo. Imran Grimsley joined by Carmen Corley. It is a beautiful day here in Athens, Georgia for some lacrosse. Carmen, what would you say is the key to the game for this Dogs team?
I think the Dogs here, they need to play all 4 quarters. We saw a pretty good offense from them against Tennessee last weekend. So keep that offense up all 4 quarters. I think it's going to be a good game for them.
Absolutely getting the offense started early with a shot, but saved by the goalie, number 12 for them. This pass picked up by Aiden Williams, the senior, back in UGA territory. The shot scores! That was McLaughlin with a great shot and a score to get your Dogs up 1-0 here just over a minute into this game. So we will have another face-off here. Nick Bro for the Crimson Tide and Luke Wright still on the face-off for the Dogs. Face-off one, picked up by Quinn Kavanaugh. He's fighting for it in the middle of the field. Quinn Kavanaugh with a great goal last weekend, going coast to coast. We know he's capable of. Now we got Edler on the field at midfield with Brendan Nolly and Paul Buckley. It will start with Brendan Nolly at the top left. He works over the top, finds McLaughlin. His shot goes wide. Chased by Kavanaugh. Kavanaugh now at X. He cuts back. Looking for a shot, scores, and draws the flag in the process. A great play by Rory Kavanaugh puts the Dogs up 2-0. That is Rory Kavanaugh's 100th point of his career. 99th, excuse me, of his career. He is only one away. How big is it if Rory Kavanaugh gets his 100th in this game?
It'd be huge, and we've already seen the ball's been staying on Georgia's side of the field so far, so I think there's a good chance he hits it this game.
Absolutely. Now a new face-off guy for both teams. That's Anderson Nail for Georgia and Gareth Barfoot for Alabama. Won by Nail easily. His pass to Saunders can't quite connect. Now Edler on the field with Ryan Allman. And Sam Wheeler, their other midfielder. So getting all the personnel on, they're going to take as much time up 2-0 early. They're feeling good here. Just moving it around the outside. Pass back to Wheeler. Down to Allman. Allman trying to scoop it up. Pass across to Kavanaugh. His shot. They're going to say it's scored. And that's Rory Kavanaugh's 100th point. Just a minute after getting his 99th. So a huge goal there for Kavanaugh. Getting over the hump of 100 points. Congratulations to him.
Let's go.
So Nail once again. Bro for the Crimson Tide on faceoff. Nail with another nice win. He's moving down the field. Passes it off. Back down to Paolo. Paolo's shot goes high. So the ball yet to enter the Alabama offensive zone, as it's been all Dogs here. With 11:50 left to go in the first quarter. Moving it over to Edler. His shot scores! A wicked shot by Edler finds the post. Your score, Dogs 4, Crimson Tide 0.
It's looking a lot too. That top left corner has been a good place for Dogs to be looking to score, and they're really controlling the face-off here. So Alabama offense is struggling. Haven't seen the ball yet.
Absolutely been a quiet day for that Alabama offense.
The Tide is not rolling.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Now Luke Wright going up against Bro on the face-off. Won again by Georgia. They'll get it down to McLaughlin to settle the ball. Starting it over with Brendan Nolly once again. He works down the alley. Moves it to Kavanaugh. Up top to Paolo. Now with McLaughlin, and they'll get Paul Buckley on the dodge. A nice move by Buckley. Shot saved. And they're going to say Alabama won the chase. Out of bounds, but Paolo was right there with them. So now Balthazar moves it finally in the offensive zone for the Crimson Tide with a long stick, 2 long sticks. And now number 5, Kane for the Crimson Tide. The Alabama Crimson Tide are going to call a timeout. So while they figure out what they're going to do on offense, we're going to figure out what we're going to talk about over here. And we will take a short break and be right back with you. Welcome back to the stream here on the UGA Lacrosse YouTube channel. I'm Ren Grimsley, joined by Carmen, Corley, and it's senior day here at the game. We have 5 fantastic seniors representing the Dogs today. Number 7, Aiden Williams. Number 13, Eli Morin. Number 34, Evan Mallon. Number 4, Nick Edler. And Connor Moran, who is unfortunately hurt, number 10 for him. So they will be missed, but it is great to be here and celebrate them today. Had a little ceremony before the game. So in the Alabama offensive zone now, Downey will start his dodge up top, moving to his right. Moving it around to Kane. Ball on the ground now, fighting for it. They'll call a loose ball push, and it will remain Alabama ball. Now moving it up top. Downing once again. Dodging from X. Is Kane once again being guarded by that senior Aiden Williams. Now Smith working to his right. Shot clock low. And they will call a shot clock violation. So a turnover for Alabama, unable to get a shot on goal. And Sutton will send it way down. Picked up by McLaughlin. 9:20 here left in the first. Dogs up 4-0. Starting with Edwards up top. He'll move to his left down the alley. Great move. His shot goes wide. Not quite on goal, but Rory Cavanaugh will win the chase. Now Cavanaugh working behind X. Moving it up, finding the crease. His shot saved. That was Edwards with a nice shot. But a nice thigh save by the goalie of the Crimson Tide. Now Buckley. Dodging to his right. He'll move it but down. Shot. They will call a crease violation on Caleb Paolo. He went in the goal, but fortunately his body landed in the crease, and it will be Alabama ball. Now moving it down way across the field and way over the head of his intended man and out of bounds. It will be Georgia ball heading into their offensive zone now.
Hey, that's all you, Josh. That's all you, Josh. What up, dude?
So now setting up.
Oh, yeah, 5-0. Oh, yeah, 5-0.
Moving it to number 50, Christian Yarbrough.
Here we go, 2-1.
Setting up his dodge. Down to the right, moving it down to Cavanaugh again. Looking for a long pass over the top. His shot off the post. That was Yarbrough with a nice shot, but couldn't find the goal. Cavanaugh now with it. He works over GLE, taking a big check there. Now McLaughlin up top. He finds the crease. Shot scored! Christian Yarbrough with his goal and extends the Dogs' lead 5-0 with 7:14 here in the first.
I think the Dogs are really playing a clean game here. We saw them force the turnover from shot clock earlier, and they're really being patient, waiting for those shots. And I think we're going to see a pretty high-scoring game here for the Dogs.
Back on the face-off is Luke Wright against Bro for the Crimson Tide, won by Mallon. And he settles it down. A pass way over the head of Rory Kavanaugh goes out of bounds, and it will be Alabama ball.
Hey, right there, Peach.
It's now a pass to the middle. Finds number 31, Simmons. And in the offensive zone, fighting for it. No one able to come up with it. Finally picked up by Bowers for the Crimson Tide, as they'll settle it down, wanting to give their defense a rest after a long 6 minutes so far for them. Now Smith dodging to his right. He'll pass it down to the attack. Big fighting for it. Shoots. And it's bouncing around all over the place. No one able to find it. Finally, Jacob Peach able to come up with it. Moving down the field quickly in transition. Can't connect with McLaughlin. Goes out of bounds. It will be Alabama ball. Starting with it is the defenseman Balthazar. Moving it to Didi. Unable to find a pass so far. And a pass straight to Evan Mallon for a turnover. Mallon moves it to Kavanaugh. Back to Mallon. Whiffs on the shot. Gets knocked down in the process. Ball now behind the goal. Caleb Paolo with a big lift on the defender. And Paolo, nice ground ball. As the Dogs will call yellow, in other words. Settling the ball down to get their right personnel on.
No, I don't want any of that. That was horrible. Hey, I got it on film.
So settling it down, as they said now, getting Ryan Allman, Sam Wheeler, and Nick Edler on the field. Nick Edler, the senior, dodging to his left. And a pass broken up. That was Tan, the defender, breaking up that pass, and it will be Alabama ball. Now trying to get across midfield. That's Simmons, the long, not the long stick. Now Cannon with it. They'll move it around down below GLE. So settling it down with Peter Boland, moving it to Rayleigh, as he'll dodge on the LSM Will Huber and quickly change his mind. Down below GLE, working hard. He gets a shot picked up by Sutton. And it will be out of bounds. Alabama ball still. And Kane, being guarded by Aiden Williams, gets stopped up and has to move it up top. Now Rayleigh with the ball. Moving it to Boland way up top. Setting up his dodge, moving down right. His shot off the post. Resetting the shot clock and picked up by the Crimson Tide, number 14, Waldrop. Being guarded by Kavanaugh. And his shot saved by Sutton. So not many shots on goal for the Crimson Tide, but all of them have been stopped by Sutton so far. It's 5-0 Dogs. 3:10 left to go in the first quarter. So a nice defensive stop there for Georgia. Their first true test on the defensive side this game. Now Brendan Nolly. He moves to his right, down to Kavanaugh.
The last face-off, they told
Up top, back to Brendan Nolly. He's had a majority of the dodges this game. His shot saved. And picked up by the goalie of the Crimson Tide. Now sending it way downfield. Picked up by Balthazar in the offensive zone, looking to get a pass off so that he can get back to his defensive side. And goes into the offensive zone for Georgia on a missed pass. Picked up by Paolo. And sends a long pass to McLaughlin. His shot goes high. And the chase won by Alabama. So now the ball down the field once again to Balthazar. Getting it to Downey. Trying to settle it down now is Alabama. Your score 5-0 with a minute and a half to go left in this first quarter. Alabama with the ball. Kane working up. Moves it to Smith. Saved by Sutton. And he'll send a pass way downfield to Mallon. Scoops it up. And working hard down the field in transition. He'll move it to Kavanaugh. Back over to Paolo. Gets broken up. And heading the other way with it. Picked up by Dylan Casey, the defender, as it entered the defensive zone for Georgia. Now Edler with it. It's been all Georgia this first quarter. As Georgia will call a timeout. So Carmen, been all Georgia this game. Any thoughts so far?
I think that they came out really hot, but now I feel like the offense is getting a little bit sloppy, and going in the second quarter need to tighten it up. Slow things down, settle the ball a little bit, get some passes off because passes are kind of flying, shots are going high. So settle in a little bit, and I think they'll be sitting good.
Absolutely, and we will take a short break. 51 seconds left to go in this first quarter. We will be right back. We are back here at the intramural fields here on Senior Day. The Dogs up 5-0 here with 51 seconds left to go in the first quarter. In the Georgia offensive zone, starting with Nick Edler. He'll move it down to Paolo, and working it around are the Dogs. Shot clock is not an issue, so they're going to want to try and get the last shot here. Starting with Alman, moving down to his right, down the alley. Now with Wheeler, on to his left. Moves it to Paolo. Working over the top, shot scored by Ryan Alman. And a quick goal there. 21 seconds left to go in the first quarter. Dogs up 6-0. So that was Ryan Alman getting his first of the game. If you're just joining us, Rory Kavanaugh scored his 100th point of his career earlier after netting 2 goals. On the faceoff, Anderson Nail and Nick Bro. Won by Bro this time. It's Alabama's first faceoff win this game. And a Can't connect on the pass, so picked up by Steven Sutton. Still fighting for it, excuse me. Picked up by Kane. Sutton way out of the goal. But with 4 seconds left to go. And he misses on the shot. So after 15 minutes of play, your score, Dawgs 6, Alabama 0. We will be right back for second quarter action here on the UGA Lacrosse YouTube channel. Welcome back. Your score, Dawgs 6, Alabama 0 after 1 quarter of play. And a quick face-off won by Nail. Still trying to pick it up and fighting for it. This time scooped up by number 17, Eli Morin. Sending it down, moving it to Edwards. Now Edwards dodging over the top. He'll cut back to his right. As the Dawgs still looking to get something going here. They'll start with Edwards, bottom left, working over GLE. Now moving over the other side. He passes it up to Nolly. Moves it to Morin. The senior Morin will move it down to Wheeler. Moving over the top, his shot goes wide. With 14 seconds left to go on the shot clock. Chase won by the Dawgs. Moving it up to Edwards. Back over to Wheeler. Working over the top. Behind the back pass. Behind the back shot goes wide. Almost the filthiest play of the season. McLaughlin unable to find the net on a wraparound shot. So it will be Georgia ball after the chase. Only 2 seconds to go on the shot clock. So they will have to work quick. And they'll throw it away so that Alabama will get the ball, but they'll be able to move back into transition defense. So some medical issues over here on the sideline, but nonetheless, fighting for it at midfield. Picked up by Quinn Kavanaugh. He'll move it to Wheeler. Looking for a pass back to Kavanaugh. Saved by the goalie. And fighting for it right in front of the crease. Launches into the air, picked up by Buckley. His shot goes wide by just about an inch or two. Chase won by the Dogs, so Wheeler, who started the game at midfield, is back down at attack. And he will start with it, moving over the top. His shot goes high. And now fighting for it. Moving it up to McLaughlin. He'll dodge. Cutting back. Moves it to Nolly. And picked up by Barfoot of the Crimson Tide. Trying to take it himself across midfield. He'll send it. It'll hit the Alabama man just before it gets out of bounds and picked up by Edwards. And now unable to connect on the pass for a shot. So Georgia will settle it back down in their offensive zone. Crazy turnover there for Alabama. He was passing it to a man who wasn't looking. And Edwards will draw the flag, and his shot goes wide. So a slashing penalty on number 47, Burkholder, for the Crimson Tide. This will be our first time seeing the Georgia man up this game. So trying to get the right personnel on now, starting with Paolo down at the bottom left. They'll move it over to Edler. Back to Alman. In a wheel, his shot scored! Number 14, Sam Wheeler. On the wheel, gets a goal, makes your score Dogs 7, Crimson Tide 0, with 11:29 left to go in the second.
It was a good way for the Dogs to capitalize there, being man up on offense, and they've settled in. Alabama defense a little bit has tightened up, so made it a little bit more difficult having to be more selective about shots, but the Dogs capitalized.
So now, back on the face-off is Luke Wright for Georgia, and Nick Bro for the Crimson Tide. Fighting for it now. Goes into the Georgia offensive zone. And Sam Wheeler with it on his elbows, I guess. Some interesting hits here, and they'll throw a flag. And they will call another penalty here on the Crimson Tide. So just seconds after getting a man-up goal, Dogs back on the man-up. This will be a cross-check on number 11, Nick Bro, who's been their face-off man this game. I guess this Alabama team's just going to say, don't worry about it, bro. So starting with it up top, Nick Edler, as they'll settle it down, moving it around. Finding McLaughlin, his shot goes wide. Chase won by Kavanaugh of the Dogs, so back in their offensive zone still. Moving it up. Up to Edler. Back down to GLE. Nick Edler, his shot scores on a... They are not going to call it a score after a bar-down shot. Hits the top post and goes straight down, but they're going to say no goal in that one. I somewhat disagree, but Now in the offensive zone for Alabama. Sutton chasing on the shot. Still on man down is Alabama. Aiden Williams with it. He'll move it over to Casey, who finds Edler in the middle of the field. And with just a few seconds left to go on this man up. And that concludes the penalty here for Alabama. So now we are even strength. Your score is 7-0 Georgia. With 10 minutes left to go in this second quarter. So now setting up their regular offense. Now Wheeler with it. Working around. He's passed up top. Gets broken up by the defender. Tan for Alabama. Sending it way down the field, but gets picked up by Edler. Working it in transition. Wheeler with it. Behind the back pass. Shot scored. Finds McLaughlin. And that makes your score 8-0. All Georgia this game with 9.5 left to go in the first half. So Luke Wright at the face-off for the Dogs. This time a new guy for Alabama, Jesse Viringo, number 35. Frosty with a nice win. Moving it down into the offensive zone, looking for a long stretch pass. As they will settle it down in the Georgia offensive zone. Now Edwards with it. He'll work down to his right. Moves it to Wheeler. Up to Yarbrough. Yarbrough setting up his dodge. Down the alley. Cuts back to the right. And moving it back to Edwards. His shot saved by the goalie of Alabama. So that will reset the shot clock here, and now Nolly with it. Moving it over to Edwards. After hard cut, he'll dodge down, he'll shoot and score. Kevin Edwards with his first goal of the game. Makes your score Georgia 9, Alabama 0. 8 minutes left to go in the second quarter. And the Dogs continuing their dominance here this first half. They need to play a full 4 quarters. And UGA will switch out their goalies from Steven Sutton to Liam Demko. The freshman, his first appearance this season. And they will call a hold on number 11, Nick Brose, on the faceoff. So it will be Georgia ball. Now working with it down at X is Sam Wheeler. Now Daniel Fazzari with it. He'll work over the top. His shot goes wide. I imagine we'll see many other guys from lower on the bench this game as the Dogs are up 9-0.
I think we'll see a lot of playing from, honestly, the rest of the team. You know, Alabama still has really not seen much offensive action, and so we'll see a lot of subbing.
Absolutely, and the seniors might get a break from the second half here on senior day for them. Now moving it. Shot broken up So they're still in the Georgia offensive zone. A whistle, not quite sure what. There was an injury on the field, but seems to be okay. Back up. Now Johnson with it, working to his left. Moving it to Buckley. Now McLaughlin, his shot goes wide. It's now back over to Johnson. Moves it over to Nelson. His shot saved by the goalie of Alabama. Alabama looking to clear it, but it will be thrown out of bounds. So it will be back in the Georgia offensive zone. As it has been all Georgia essentially the past 5 or so minutes, not even touching the Alabama offensive zone. Your score 9-0. Georgia winning. 6 minutes to go in the second quarter, excuse me. Buckley taking some hard checks as he works in the middle of the field. His shot goes wide. McLaughlin now down low, working over the top. His shot scores! Taking the Dogs to double digits. It's 10-0 all Georgia with 5:40 to go in the first half.
I know this Alabama defense is tired.
There's been a lot of gameplay on Alabama's defensive side. If you haven't seen Liam Demko, the new goalie for Georgia, in for Steven Sutton. Has not seen a shot yet, however. So now on the face-off, Bro up against Nail. Nail able to scoop it up and taking some hard checks. And a flag will fly, as they will inevitably call that on Nick Bro after some less than legal checks on Anderson Nail. Setting it down, Bryce Johnson, John Nelson, and Fazzari at the midfield. Johnson now, his pass. Back up to Fazzari. Over to Johnson, dodging once again. Flag still on the field, but has not been whistled yet, as Alabama hasn't had possession yet. Here's a shot off the post. Picked up again and goes wide. That was Buckley unable to find the net. As there will be a whistle now, and Bro will come to the box for Alabama. So another man-up opportunity for the Dogs. Your score 10-0 Dogs with 4:47 left in the first half.
Seeing a lot of frustration from Bro on the field, I think, coming off a face-off, not really winning much, so he's throwing some reckless checks and second time in the penalty box, so we'll see how that continues the rest of the game.
Absolutely. He's been their main face-off guy this game. It'll be interesting to see at the next face-off here now. Looking for a shot. Paolo, he finds the back of the net. And after taking some hard checks, nearly stepping in the crease, but manages to find the back of the net, making your score 11-0 Georgia. 4:37 left to go in this first half.
So now at the face-off, Luke Wright. They call him Frosty. He's been ice cold today. Or I guess he's been super hot, whichever one you want to say. Going up against 35 Viringo. This time Viringo with a nice win on the face-off and in the Alabama offensive zone. Being guarded by Tintle. The LSM. And now Kane with it.
Let's go, guy. Hey, play out on him. Let's go, Jack.
Just looking for someone to dodge now. It will be 44 Bowers. The shot goes wide, picked up by Kane before out of bounds. Kane still with it. They'll move it up to Smith, setting up his dodge, being guarded by Mallon. Mallon, the senior and president of this team. Great leader for a lot of these guys. Now playing strong defense. And picked up by Friedman for the Dawgs, who's been filling in this game for Andrew Robinette as he has an injury. And now a long pass. Shot scored! Eli Morin on his senior day nets one after a great transition play. Your score, Dawgs 12, Crimson Tide 0, 3:11 left to go in the first half. So back on the face-off. Same as last time, it'll be Wright and Viringo. And Luke Wright this time with the win. Moving in transition, they'll settle it down with Paul Buckley. And a shot scores from way downtown. Number 2, Luke Wright, the Fogo, this time getting a faux goal. And makes it 13-0. Exactly 3 minutes left to go. As they'll give him a break. Get Anderson Nail on there for the faceoff. So now Nail moving it back to Jacob Peach, who will scoop it up and take it himself. Cross midfield line, now in transition. His shot goes wide. So now, Dawgs once again with it in their offensive zone. Kevin Edwards with a nice dodge. Moving it back up to Buckley. His shot scores! Paul Buckley from way up top. After the assist on the last goal to Luke Wright, gets a goal himself, making your score 14-0. Dawgs, 2.5 minutes left to go in the first half.
On the sideline, they're asking if there's a mercy rule.
I don't know about the rule on that. I thought there was a running clock at this point, but the clock is stopped at 2:24. 14-0. This is a big win. Well, excuse me, I'm not going to say that quite yet. Big lead for the Dawgs. And now won by number 33, Jack Weiland. He'll scoop it up and he'll settle it down. Move it to Buckley. Now with Price Johnson up top, he'll move it back to Weiland. Back to Johnson, working hard. Oh, he'll fall down. Take some checks in the process. Fighting for it down low, picked up by the Crimson Tide. That's Balthazar. He's been a big part of this Alabama transition. And he'll dump it off and get back into his spot on the defense. Now with number 10, Cannon. They'll settle it down, try and give their defense a break. Looking to dodge now is Smith. He'll move it. His shot scores. Scored by Downey in the crease. And that makes your score Georgia 14, Alabama 1, with 1 minute left to go here in the first half. Just mentally, it's huge to get a goal for Alabama there. Still allowing them to fight in this game. Now Luke Wright on the faceoff. Going up against Viringo. Goes way up in the air. And picked up by Saunders. Now getting their offensive personnel on as Saunders and Quinn Cavanaugh will come off. Now with Nelson, Weiland, and Price Johnson. At midfield, Johnson dodging down the alley. Now a pass up to Weiland. His shot goes high. .28 seconds to go in the half. Shot clock is no longer a problem. Up to Weiland. He'll set up his dodge over the top. Down to Buckley. And a save by the goalie as it will fly out now, out of bounds. Paolo with it. They'll move it over to Johnson. Looking for the crease, can't find it. And sending it way down to end the first half. Your score, Dawgs 14, Crimson Tide 1 at the half. We will be back for second half action here on the UGA Lacrosse YouTube channel. Don't go anywhere. And now Carmen Corley will give us a first half recap.
It has been an absolute Georgia offensive beatdown going into the second half here. They're up 14-1. We've really seen Elite control the draw by Luke Wright, and this offense is moving the ball around well. And although the Dogs defense has not seen a lot of action, they've been playing tight, clean defense. Alabama seems to be getting frustrated. I know their defense is exhausted, but that's pretty much all that happened in the first half. So here we go in second half play.
And after a nice win by Luke Wright on the faceoff, Georgia once again with it. As it will be Christian Yarbrough setting up his dodge. His shot scores after a big hit, drawing the penalty. And a nice goal, shooting it up top. Makes your score 15-1 Georgia. Only 30 seconds into this second half. They will call unnecessary roughness on Alabama. So now another face-off here for Luke Wright, going up against Barfoot for Alabama. And an easy win for Wright there, moving it down. And now moving it around up to Edler. They'll move it over, back up top. His shot scores. Nick Edler with a great shot, finding stick side of the goalie. As Georgia continues their incredible run.
We have a bench press going on the sideline over here. Elite celebration by the Dogs.
Dogs obviously feeling themselves. It's 16-1, 13:48 to go in the third quarter. Still working on that bench press, but I think they got it now. And another face-off here. Luke Wright against Varengo. Picked up and won. Luke Wright in transition. He'll dump it off to Kohler. As he and Kohler will exit the field to get their offensive midfielders on.
Gosh, you had that give and go.
Paolo with a swim dodge. His shot goes wide. And they will call an offsides call here. It'll only be a turnover, not a penalty, as it's not on the defensive side for Georgia. So Alabama with the ball now on the clear. A new goalie for them, too, as it's wetter in net. So 2 new goalies for both teams. Demko in net for the Dogs. Wetter in net for Alabama. As Georgia's just settling it down here. Plenty of time on the shot clock and not looking to score as they've extended their lead by 15 goals here. Over to Edwards, setting up his dodge. He'll move it down to Morin, playing at attack. His shot scores. Coming over GLE on his senior day, Eli Morin with a beautiful goal. Makes your score 17-1 Georgia. 12-12 to go in the third quarter. And a 17-1 game is a broadcaster's worst nightmare. So there is not
Not much to say out here.
not much to get excited about. But we're having a great time. It's a beautiful day here. Sunny sky, not a cloud in the sky for that matter. And Luke Wright, another face-off win. Aiden Williams on his senior day. The long pole trying to dodge. Takes some hard checks and the ball dislodges. He's moving with a full head of steam, however, on the ride. And it will be picked up by Nail. His shot saved by Wetter. And the chase won by Nail. Nail usually at Fogo, but I guess when you're up 17-1, some guys can play in some new places, so he'll be playing at attack for right now. As you also got Mallon, usually a defensive midfielder. He's on the offense. A nice swim dodge by Nelson. He'll move it to Bob Collins. On the field for the first time this game. And a shot by Vu.
Let's go, Boo. Let's go, Boo. Let's go.
We are back. We apologize for some technical difficulties, but they happen. That's just club sports. So your score is 20-1 now after lots of goals being scored by Georgia. 4:20 left to go in the third quarter still, as Alabama scores another one, making it 20-2. There is no mercy rule, so we will be here for all 4 quarters. It's been good to see some new guys getting some points and some goals out there. Saw Bob Collins get an assist earlier. And now back on the face-off once again. Again, thank you for sticking with us as we manage some technical difficulties. Nail on the face-off, taking a hard check to the ground. And fighting for it, going the other way towards the Alabama offensive zone. Now a long stretch pass across the field. Finding Nolly in the middle of the field. He'll take it himself across the midfield line. Now setting up the dodge is Nelson. Sending it all the way across, down into the crease. Finding Bob Collins once again. Unable to score. In the crease, shot goes high. That was Yarbrough. Fighting for it, back behind GLE. And it will be picked up by Alabama. That's Balthazar heading the other way. Down to Kane. Looking to get a transition opportunity here. Goes way over the head of his man and into the Alabama offensive zone. And now they are debating whether it's an over and back or not. And they will say it is not, so it will be Alabama ball. This Georgia team's been buzzing, wouldn't you say, Carmen?
Dude, they're having a good time out here. Vibes are really good over here. It's senior day. Everyone's getting some minutes in, so I would say vibes are definitely high on the Georgia sideline. Alabama, not so much. Seems like a lot of frustration. There was a kid doing burpees on the sideline. Things are getting weird.
It's been a weird game for sure. 20-2 your score. 2:34 left in the third quarter. As Alabama looking to make it 3 to cut into this lead. And now on the crease. I believe it was saved by Demko. And now back on the crease. Demko knocks it out and it goes out of bounds. On the shot by Rayleigh. Starting low. There will be a flag on the Dawgs as a shot goes wide. This will be a penalty on Tintle on a cross check. So I believe this is Alabama's first time man up this game. It's been a very clean game by Georgia thus far. You know, sometimes these blowout games for either side can get a little chippy, as there's not much to win or lose for either team. Luckily, it's been a very clean game. No one's gotten seriously hurt. And now Alabama still with it, looking to get a shot. His shot goes wide. That's Bowers from up top. And Georgia will win the chase. It will be Dawgs' ball. Mallon starting with it. Mallon's been getting to play a little bit of offense. It's his senior day. Usually plays defensive midi, but in a 20-2 game, he said, "Coach, I'll take some runs on O."
He's right here. He's right here. Right here.
Georgia still with it. Not in really any hurry to get a shot off. A minute to go in this third quarter. As that will end the man up for Alabama. Georgia obviously was wasting time there to get rid of the man down. Now here's Yarbrough with a pass. Shot saved. The shot by Nolly. And some pushing and shoving with the goalie behind GLE, and they'll say it's Georgia ball once again. Now with Nolly. He dodges to his right. His shot saved. A nice bounce shot, but finds the stick of the Alabama goalie. Heading the other way now. With it is Simmons. 15 seconds to go in this third quarter. They're going to look to get a shot off. Kane with it. His shot unable to find the goal. And picked up by Demko as he'll send it way down the field. No one able to get a handle of it. So your score, Dawgs 20, Alabama 2. One more quarter of play here. As always, I'm Ren Grimsley, joined by Carmen, Corley. We will be right back. We are back here for fourth quarter action here at the intramural fields at UGA. Dawgs taking on Alabama. Your score 20-2. And Carmen, what are you expecting to see this fourth quarter?
Honestly, expecting to just continue to see a beat down, probably a handful more goals. Hopefully some guys that maybe haven't gotten goals this season get some touches, but ball's moving around pretty well on offense, so I think that we're just going to spread the love around on the offensive side of the field, and hopefully defense doesn't have to work too hard in the second half.
Absolutely. We are face-off once again. They will call a procedure call on Luke Wright, so it will be Alabama ball. And now settling it down with Bowers. And now dodging, being guarded by Seidenberg. Still moving it around. Can't connect on the pass. Picked up by Rosenberg, heading the other way. In transition, he'll settle it down. And now with it is Collins. Here's a shot, scores! Eli Morin And another assist by Collins. Gets it to Morin for a goal on his senior day. Been a big day for the seniors as they are playing their last game at home. That makes your score 21-2. 14-15 left to go in the game. As we have another face-off. Georgia wins it. Picked up by Weiland. And a pass goes all the way down to X, where Collins is at. Moves it over to Fazari. His dodge down to the left. He'll move it down to Collins. Excuse me, that was Edwards. Working through the crease, getting a goal. So as predicted, Dawgs netting a couple more in this fourth quarter. As it's hard to get excited about Georgia goals this game like we usually do. It's now 22-2. 13:43 in the game remaining. Face-off won by Luke Wright, and will draw a flag. He's working in transition. His shot can't find the goal. Picked up by Edwards. As Bob Collins working at X. Looking for a pass. He finds Edwards in the crease. His shot goes high. So another man up here for Georgia. As there will be a slash on number 35, Virengo. We've seen him take several face-offs. Georgia's been successful today on man up, netting 2 goals and 2 chances. There's 13 minutes to go in the game here. They'll get their usual man up in with Edler. Pass gets by Edler. He's able to scoop it up before it gets out of bounds. Here's a shot off the post. There's a shot by Morin. Edler able to pick it up. He moves it back over to Morin. Ball goes flying. Edler's shot scores. Underhanded from way up top. And Nick Edler able to extend this Dawgs lead even more than it already is. So no running clock still. It's 23-2, 12:29 to go in fourth quarter. I'm having a great time. How about you, Carmen?
I'm having a good time. Lot of fun to watch.
Couldn't have asked for a prettier day. And here's a face-off. Luke Wright and Bro once again. Luke Wright raking for it, taking some hard checks. That's this Alabama face-off, getting very aggressive. And it will be Georgia ball after a loose ball push. Georgia with it now up top with John Nelson. Moving it to Weiland on the other side. He'll set up his dodge down the left alley. Looking back for a pass. Moving it down to Collins at X. Now Price Johnson. Moving it over to Edwards. His shot goes wide. Fighting for it now. Hitting a ref. But picked up by Johnson. Weilant now. Cutting back to his left. Here's Nelson with a shot. Saved by the goalie of Alabama. Now looking to clear is number 10, Cannon, for Alabama. And they will say it's out of bounds on Alabama. So Georgia ball needing to go the length of the field. Finds Weilant in the middle of the field. He moves it across the midfield line. Now at X. Jumping across, he scores. Bob Collins with another goal. As he jumped across the crease essentially from behind it and makes your score 24-2. 10:45 left to go in the game. And it will be Nail at face-off for the Dogs, this time going up against Brady Ryan for Alabama. Won by Ryan, but quickly checked by Nail and picked up by Kohler. Kohler taking it into the offense. Settling it down with Nolly. Getting Fazari and Yarbrough on. And now here's Johnson. Dodging. He'll look for a shot. Saved. This time picked up and scored by Daniel Fazari. So Fazari with a nice cleanup goal there. 10 minutes to go in this game. As these might be a very long 10 minutes if scoring keeps happening. Here's Nail fighting for it against Ryan once again. Picked up by Saunders. Long pole, his shot goes wide. And now Georgia with it. Down at X. That's Collins. His shot goes wide. Chase won by Nolly. Nolly down at attack. Again, another guy in a spot that he's not normally in. Usually an offensive midfielder. But at midfield, it will be Nelson, Fazari, and Yarbrough. Here's Johnson. Excuse me, Johnson, not Nelson. And at midfield, and after the shot, the chase is won by the goalie of Alabama. Still looking for a pass. Sending it way across the field to Polster. And they will say failure to advance. So Alabama did not get it across midfield in the correct amount of time. So it will be a turnover and Georgia ball. So your score 25-2. 8:45 to go in the game. And looking for a pass, nearly gets broken up by Edwards. But now with Alabama heading into the offensive zone. And here's a pass behind the back shot, hits the side of the goal. Picked up by Demko. Now here's Johnson. He's heading down, his shot scores. And I imagine some of these guys have gotten hat tricks that I haven't mentioned, but it's been a little hard to keep track of who all's been scoring, as it's now 26-2, 8:05 to go. And I was expecting Georgia to have a good day today. Wasn't quite expecting this. How about you?
I was not expecting this, honestly. Not up by this much. I thought we were going to get an early lead, but maybe simmer it down a little bit. But they've kept points rolling all 4 quarters. So it's good to see, especially on senior day.
Absolutely a good send-off for those 5 seniors we mentioned earlier. And Weiland taking a hard check there. And settling it down. Fazzari, he'll set up his dodge. He'll move it back to Edwards. Yarbrough with some good moves to Edwards. His shot scores. That makes your score 27-2. 7:29 to go in the game. So still chugging along here in this game as Dawgs with a big lead. Here's Nail at the face-off, going up against Viringo. Backs it up to Seidenberg, and Georgia will win the face-off. Carmen, you played high school lacrosse as well. Were you ever a part of a blowout quite like this?
Not this big. I think our biggest blowout was probably by 10 goals, and we thought that was huge. So this is pretty intense for a blowout, especially at like this caliber of lacrosse.
Absolutely. I had something one time where it was 19-1, going up against the #1 team in the state, though.
So you're a little bit familiar. You're a little bit familiar.
Yeah, I scored the one, though, actually.
There you go.
It's the little victories that count in games like that. So, a missed pass here, as it will be Georgia ball. Demko looking for a pass. He's almost at midfield. He'll find a pass to Edwards on the sideline. A long pass to Yarbrough as he gets on the field. Weiland now with it, setting up his dodge. Edwards with some moves. He'll move it over to Johnson. His shot doesn't quite find the goal. And a pass over the head of Johnson finds the midfield. Fighting for it at the midfield line. It will be Alabama ball on the over and back. Your score 27-2, Georgia. 5:40 left to go in the game. We thank you all for joining us here on this beautiful day, as as Alabama setting it up now. Looking for a dodge. Here's a shot. Scores. Drawing the flag as well. As there will be another flag flying, probably for unsportsmanlike conduct on the Dogs. So the officials will get together and talk a little bit. There will be 2-man down for Georgia. So 5:15 here to go. 27-2. 2-man down is Georgia. And Alabama will start with the ball. So there will be no face-off. Georgia setting up in that box. And we're back in action here. Alabama going to take their time, find a good shot. Moving it around. With Bowers. He looks down. Shot goes wide. Alabama will win the chase. So one of the penalties for Georgia will be released. So only 1 man up now. Still moving it around. Kane with it. As the penalty expires. But a shot and score by Smith for the Crimson Tide. That makes your score 27-4. Georgia still up. .4:14 to go here in the game, as we will see Anderson nail back on the faceoff. And faceoff won by Alabama. Sviringo. But the pass goes out of bounds. Now moving it to Johnson. Here's a shot and score by Johnson. .28-4 here. 3:54 to go. It's been all Dogs this entire game, if the score didn't indicate that. And here's some fighting on the face-off, some big checks between Viringo and Nail. And Seidenberg will settle it down. So Georgia moving it around. Probably going to wait until the shot clock is below 10 before they try and take any sort of shot. Nelson with it up top, moving it around. Down at X with Yarbrough. Now Collins with it, dodging. His shot goes wide. 13 seconds on the shot clock. 2:34 here left in the game. And here's a shot saved by the goalie. That shot by Nolly, as he pretty much had to with that shot clock expiring. Moving quickly on his back, though. That's Cannon. Alabama with it now in their offensive zone. So there's a flag on the field on the Dawgs. 1:45 left in the game. Here's a dodge. Finding the crease. And moving it out now. Still looking for a shot. This one goes wide. That one by Vandermolen. So there will be a penalty. An offside penalty on Yarbrough. .132 left in the game. As Alabama gets another man-up opportunity here. It will start bottom left. They'll move it around, setting up their man-up play. As Downey misconnects on the pass, now with Mallon. They'll likely settle it down. There's a minute left. And shot clock not an issue, so ideally they'll just let the clock expire. As it's 28-4. 40 seconds to go, as it's looking like both teams will agree to just let this one tick down. Not much to report since the last update. Still just moving it around as the clock with 4 seconds to go. And that will be your game here in Athens. The Dawgs beat the Tide 28-4 on Senior Day. Well, Carmen, it's been quite a game, wouldn't you say?
It was a great game, great day for the seniors. All around, good one for the Dawgs.
Huge win, good one going into next week as they have a tough opponent in Georgia Tech on the road. A ranked opponent, one of the best teams in the MCLA. So that will do it here from us in Athens. As always, I'm Ren Grimsley, joined by Carmen Corley. Thank you for joining us.